Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Sethum and welcome back to another episode, folks. We're going to continue with getting all of the Explorer notes. This is what we did last time. So we covered the Manticore Arena and all of the Explorer notes around in these ruins. From here on, we're going to carry on with the next batch of Explorer notes. And so I'm going to use this as a point of reference for those that are using this mini-series to get the Explorer notes here on Scorched Earth. So one thing we need to do here is actually, I would recommend using a flyer, because from this point onward, this is where we get the Wyvern Trench as well as the main spawns for the death worms. Also keep in mind that we're going to be following the borders of the Scorched Earth, and you can see as we get close to the borders, it does begin to look a bit simpler past the border. So we're going to be using that as a point of reference from time to time. So here is the first ruin. The GPS coordinates are, as you can see, 71.8 by 10.5, and here is my location on the map. I'm going to pick up this note eventually. There we go. So this is the first Explorer note here on this particular episode, or in this section of Scorched Earth. So again, we're going to get some altitude because it is easier to spot them. And right there towards the mountains, you can see that's where the Manticore Arena was. So we're going to fly towards the mountains. This is where the Wyvern Trench also starts, so you want to keep an eye out for that. Hopefully we don't encounter too many death worms. Otherwise, there will be quite a few cuts. I'm going to try and do this without any cuts in the video. But if we do have to fight some death worms, I guess I will end up having to make a few cuts. So this is what this particular structure looks like. You can see the note to my right. So I'm just kind of showing you the ruin itself. But it is on the outer edges right there, basically to my left now. It is actually sunken into the sand. So I'm going to go and pick this up eventually. There we go. Let me just position myself so I can pick it up off the Wyvern. There we go. So this one is the can note number 3, and this is my location on the map. GPS coordinates are 66.3 by 14.4. I'll leave this out for a bit so you guys can follow along. Again, gain some altitude. It does help us look past the dunes. They do kind of complicate things, but also you can actually see where the next ruin is. So most of the ruins in the desert will have a Explorer note or two. Some of them, as you saw earlier on, may have 2 Explorer notes. So here is our next location. This one's kind of easy to spot as well. And this is the can note number 23. My location on the map. GPS coordinates are 63.6 by 10.3. Alright, I'll hold these out for a couple of seconds. Let's move on to the next one. So now over there in front of me, you can see that there is a bit of a hill. So let's call it a giant dune, but it also turns into a land bridge across the Wyvern Trench. So we're going to go past that slightly, and that should lead us to the next location. It is kind of iffy at times because some of these locations do look like ruins. So it does not help when it gets really hot out here. But you can see right here, this one is an oasis. You can actually see it because it's right in front of me. So it is past or just below the dune that turns into a land bridge. It is basically the first land bridge that we have from the Manticore Arena going upwards on the map, so to speak. My English probably did not explain it very well, but here we are with the map and the GPS. The GPS coordinates are 54.7 by 13.0. So as you've seen so far, most of the oases in the desert do tend to have an Explorer note. We're going to stick to the Wyvern Trench. You can see right there First land bridge, second land bridge, third land bridge. So we're going to stick to that. And right in front of us, you can see the next ruin. It is quite easy to spot. It is two giant pillars or pillar-like structures going up. So that's where we're going. Okay, we're going to try and land here. You can see the explorer note from where we are right now. It is actually around here, so it is in a corner. It is in a jar, so it is kind of difficult if you don't know where you're looking. So that's that done. Coordinates are 45.8 by 9.5, so that's 09.5. Once again, we're going to use the Wyvern Trench for reference. So that is kind of another land bridge. It looks like the end of the Wyvern Trench, but it's not. It's just basically a giant sand dune that turns into a land bridge. And past that, we will have a rock. And around that rock is a small ruin, which will have another note. So just showing you the surrounding area. So this is what I mean. There's like a land bridge here. And then we have this ruin right here in front of us. This one is a Helena note. And of course it is the Jerboa dossier. So as you can see, it even says it. My location on the map, the GPS coordinates are 36.9 by 12.2. And we have a death worm. So I'll have to deal with this. That means I'll have to do a bit of cutting. Alright, this is take number 3. So this is where we found the previous explorer note. From here, we're going to continue following the Wyvern Trench. It is a bit of a pain because after the death worm, I did also have to fight some wyverns or wyverns. Wyverns, okay, I'm going to get corrected, I know that. But we're going to go towards the end of the Wyvern Trench right here. And to the left of it, you can see another ruin. Of course, the ruin will also have an explorer note for us. This one is right here, so easily accessible off of a wyvern. And let me bring out the map and GPS. This is where I'm at, and the coordinates are 28.5 by 12.4. Alright, we're gonna continue carrying or going northwards. That was a mouthful. And in front of us we can see another ruin. So very easy to spot if you are in the air. And this one is around this way. I have accidentally picked it up in the past, so there's nothing to show, but I will show you what it is. It is Helena note number 13. As you can see, this is my location on the map, and the GPS coordinates are 23.7 by 12.6. Now I did accidentally pick this up in my playthrough. I think I got pushed into it by a death worm, which kind of sucked, but it is what it is. It does happen from time to time. And we're going to go on to the next one. So Wyvern Trench has ended. We now basically use height to our advantage so we can spot the next ruins. So as you can see, there's a bit of salt around, and we have a ruin, and right in the center of it we do have the next explorer note. Here is my location on the map. So the coordinates are 17.6 by 12.2, and again we have another death worm. So unfortunately I'm going to have to make a shortcut here as well, because we have been photobombed. There we go. Death worm completed. Quickly going to pick up the goodies, because this isn't just a guide. I'm actually using my playthrough characters without any cheats or anything, so I do want to grab all the loot here. And of course, the death worm's horns can be useful for taming mantises. Alright, with that said, let's carry on with the next explorer notes. Again, we're going to carry on northwards, and hopefully we don't have too many more interruptions, because we don't have too many more notes to pick up, but this is an area that does tend to have, on occasions, 2 death worms within close proximity of each other, so we never know what's going to happen. You can see the ruin right in front of us. Now, you did see to my left what looked like an oasis. We're not going to bother with that. There's absolutely nothing there. Basically, we just carry on northwards from where we last were, or from the last explorer note. That probably sounded better. Again, this is a Helena note. Right now, I'm just worried about death worms again. But this is my location on the map. And the GPS coordinates are 10.5 by 19.5. So just to show you the surrounding area, you can see we are quite close to the Blue Obelisk. And that is it for this episode. Join me in the next one, where we will continue with the next Explorer notes.